The marina at 3 in the morning smells like diesel fuel and broken dreams. I'm elbow deep in the guts of a 50-foot yacht engine when my phone buzzes against the metal toolbox. The sound echoes through the empty boatyard like a gunshot in a library. Emergency at work. Don't wait up. Again. Jennifer's text glows on my grease-stained screen. 3rd time this week. 4th time this month. But who's counting? Just me, apparently. My name's Jack Sullivan, and I fix things for a living. Boats, mostly. Rich people's toys that spend more time broken than floating. Ironic, considering I can't seem to fix my own marriage. 22 years. 22 years of building something I thought was solid, only to watch it leak like a busted hull. Jennifer's a corporate lawyer now, climbing that glass tower 1 billable hour at a time. Me? I'm still here in Millfield Harbor, same guy who married her fresh out of law school when she was grateful for my steady paycheck and strong hands. Those hands are shaking now as another text comes through. Not from Jennifer this time. I'm in the hospital after a mental health crisis because you won't commit. This is your fault. The number's not in my contacts, but I recognize it. Amanda Pierce. The woman I've been seeing for 3 months while my marriage crumbles like wet cardboard. The woman who's been pushing for more than I can give, more than I should give. My wrench clatters to the deck. The sound bounces off the water like a stone skipping toward shore. Which hospital? I type back, already knowing something's wrong. Amanda's dramatic, sure, but hospital-level dramatic? That's new territory, even for her. No response. Just silence and the gentle lap of harbor water against the dock. I grab my jacket and keys, leaving the yacht's engine hanging open like a patient on an operating table. The drive to Millfield General takes 12 minutes at legal speeds. I make it in 8. Amanda Pierce, I tell the night nurse, a tired-looking woman with kind eyes and coffee breath. She was brought in tonight, mental health crisis. The nurse taps her computer screen, frowning. I'm sorry, sir. We don't have anyone by that name in our system. Not tonight, not yesterday. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The floor feels like it's shifting beneath my feet. Check again, please. She does. Same result. No Amanda Pierce, no crisis, no emergency. That's when I remember Amanda's phone has location sharing turned on. She showed me once, laughing about how her parents could track her anywhere. Like I'm still 16, she'd said. I pull up the app. Amanda's little blue dot pulses steadily from the Oceanview Resort, 15 miles up the coast. The same resort where Jennifer claimed to have a client dinner last week. The same resort where rich lawyers take their rich clients to discuss rich people problems. Or where cheating wives take their lovers to discuss how to handle inconvenient husbands. My truck knows the way to Oceanview without conscious direction from me. The roads are empty at this hour, just me and my suspicions racing through the darkness. The resort's parking lot is half empty, filled with the kind of luxury cars that cost more than most people make in a year. Amanda's red BMW sits under a lamppost like a confession waiting to be heard. I don't storm in. That's what they'd expect, what they're probably hoping for. Instead, I sit in my truck and think. 22 years of marriage teaches you patience, even when patience feels like swallowing glass. The hotel's flower shop won't open for hours, but the 24-hour grocery store on Route 9 sells roses. 12 perfect red ones, wrapped in clear plastic with a little card that says, "Thinking of you." I write Amanda's room number on the card, room 237. The same room number I saw on Jennifer's credit card statement last month, the one she claimed was a booking error for a conference that got canceled. The night clerk barely looks up when I ask him to deliver the roses to room 237. Special message, I tell him, slipping him a 20. Tell her they're from someone who cares about honesty. Then I wait. 15 minutes later, Amanda stumbles out of the elevator, still pulling on her clothes. She's not alone. The man behind her is younger, smoother, wearing the kind of expensive casual wear that screams, "I bill $400 an hour." I recognize him from Jennifer's office Christmas party. David something. Junior partner. The kind of guy who thinks a firm handshake and perfect teeth make up for having the personality of wet concrete. Amanda's parents arrive just as she reaches the lobby. I called them from the parking lot, told them their daughter was in trouble and needed them. Not a lie, exactly. Just a different kind of trouble than they expected. Amanda? Her mother's voice carries across the marble floor like a church bell. What's going on? Jack called us. Said you were in the hospital. The look on Amanda's face is worth every sleepless night, every unanswered text, every guilt trip she's tried to lay on me. Pure panic, mixed with the dawning realization that her little game just exploded in her face. I can explain, she starts. But there's no explaining this. Not the roses, not David standing behind her like a deer in headlights, not the fact that she's clearly been nowhere near a hospital tonight. The roses are beautiful, her father says, reading the card. From someone who cares about honesty. That's nice, sweetheart, very thoughtful. David tries to slip away, but I'm already moving. Not toward him, just toward the exit, making sure he sees me, making sure he knows that I know. Jack? Amanda's voice cracks like thin ice. Jack, wait. But I'm already walking away, heading back to my truck with the satisfaction of a job well done. First deception revealed, as they say. Though in this case, it's more like the first truth uncovered. The drive home takes longer than usual. I'm in no hurry to face what comes next. Jennifer's car is in the driveway when I pull up, which means her emergency at work wrapped up conveniently early. She's waiting in the kitchen, still in her lawyer uniform. Power suit, power heels, power expression that could freeze coffee. We need to talk, she says. About your emergency at work? I ask, hanging my keys on the hook by the door. Or about David? Her face goes pale, then red, then pale again. It's like watching a traffic light malfunction. I don't know what you think you know, she starts, but I hold up my hand. I know Amanda Pierce wasn't in any hospital tonight. I know she was at the Oceanview Resort with your colleague David. I know you've been charging dinners at the same hotel to your credit card. I know a lot of things, Jennifer. The question is, what are you going to do about it? She stares at me like I've grown a second head. You followed her? I went to help someone I thought was in crisis. Turns out the crisis was bigger than I expected, just not the kind she described. Jennifer's laugh is sharp enough to cut glass. So you're cheating on me, and somehow I'm the bad guy? Are you cheating on me? The silence stretches between us like a tightrope. Jennifer's always been good at lawyer tactics, but she's never been good at lying to me. Her tell is the way she touches her wedding ring, spinning it around her finger like she's trying to unscrew it. She's doing it now. It's complicated, she finally says. Complicated how? You're either sleeping with David or you're not. It's not about that. Then what's it about? She looks away, toward the window that faces the harbor. It's about feeling alive again. It's about being seen as more than just this. This what? This life. This house. This version of myself that never goes anywhere or does anything or becomes anything more than Jack Sullivan's wife. The words hit harder than I expected. 22 years, and apparently I've been married to a stranger who sees our life as a prison sentence. So David makes you feel alive? David makes me feel like I matter. And I don't? She doesn't answer, which is an answer all by itself. I pour myself a glass of water from the tap, buying time to think. The smart play here is to lawyer up, divide assets, go through the motions of civilized divorce. The smart play is to walk away with whatever dignity I have left. But I've never been accused of being smart. Just thorough. Here's what's going to happen, I tell her. You're going to end it with David. You're going to recommit to this marriage, or you're going to move out. But you're not going to do both. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. And if I choose David? Then you choose the consequences that come with that choice. She studies my face like she's looking for cracks in a foundation. What consequences? The kind that come from 22 years of marriage to someone who knows where all the bodies are buried. It's a figure of speech, but Jennifer flinches like I've threatened her with actual violence. Good. Let her wonder what I'm capable of. Let her spend some sleepless nights for a change. Are you threatening me? I'm explaining reality. You want to throw away 2 decades for some junior partner with good hair and flexible ethics? Fine, but don't expect me to make it easy. She stares at me for a long moment, then turns and walks upstairs. I hear our bedroom door close, then lock. I sleep on the couch that night, staring at the ceiling and planning my next move. Because this isn't over, this is just the beginning. Morning comes with the sound of Jennifer's heels clicking across the kitchen floor above my head. She's making coffee, getting ready for another day of billing hours, and playing house with David. The routine of betrayal, dressed up in professional clothes and legal jargon. I'm still on the couch when she comes downstairs, looking like she stepped out of a magazine ad for successful women who have their lives together. The irony would be funny if it weren't so pathetic. We should talk about this rationally, she says, not looking at me. Like adults. Adults don't sneak around hotel rooms with their co-workers. Adults also don't stalk people and manipulate situations. She's got a point, but I'm past caring about points. Adults honor their commitments. Adults communicate instead of running off to play house with junior partners. Jennifer pours her coffee into the travel mug I gave her for Christmas 3 years ago. The one with "World's Best Wife" printed on the side. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. I'm staying at Catherine's for a while, she says. Until we figure this out. Catherine Walsh, Jennifer's best friend since law school, the one who always thought Jennifer was too good for me. The one who's been whispering poison in my wife's ear for years about how she could do better. Running away won't solve anything. Neither will whatever game you're playing. She's right again, but I'm not playing games. I'm playing for keeps. After Jennifer leaves, I drive to Sullivan Marine Services, the business I built from nothing while she was climbing her corporate ladder. 3 employees, 24 regular clients, and a reputation for honest work at fair prices. Not glamorous, but solid. My business partner, Tom Bradley, is already there when I arrive, bent over the books with the expression of a man trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing. We need to talk, he says without looking up. About? About the Henderson account, about the Morrison contract, about why our biggest clients are suddenly taking their business elsewhere. I pour myself coffee from the pot that's been brewing since Tom got here at 6. It tastes like motor oil and regret. What are you saying? I'm saying someone's been making calls, someone with connections and influence, someone who wants to hurt us. The coffee turns to acid in my stomach. Jennifer. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Tom closes the ledger and looks at me with the expression of a man delivering bad news. Jack, we're going to lose the business if this keeps up. I've got a family to think about. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe it's time to consider selling. Cut our losses, divide what's left, move on. To who? I've got a buyer. Someone who's been sniffing around for months, waiting for the right opportunity. The pieces click together like a puzzle solving itself. Someone Jennifer knows. I don't ask questions I don't want answers to. How much? Enough to pay off the debts and give us each a small settlement. Not enough to retire on, but enough to start over. Start over. At 45 years old, with a failing marriage and a business that's being systematically destroyed by my own wife. The American dream, ladies and gentlemen. I need time to think. You've got until Friday. After that, I'm making the deal with or without you. The drive home takes me past the Oceanview Resort, where Amanda and David played out their little drama last night. The parking lot is full of cars belonging to people who can afford to solve their problems with money instead of sweat. My phone buzzes with a text from Amanda. We need to talk. I ignore it. Amanda's part of the old game, and I'm playing a new one now. Instead, I drive to Mickey's gym, a converted warehouse where broken men go to pretend they're still fighters. Mickey Torino owns the place, a 60-year-old ex-cop who looks like he could still go 10 rounds with men half his age. You look like hell, Mickey says when I walk through the door. Feel worse. Woman troubles? Is there any other kind? Mickey laughs, a sound like gravel in a cement mixer. Get changed. Nothing clears the head like hitting something that can't hit back. The heavy bag takes everything I've got for 30 minutes straight. Left hook, right cross, combinations that would make a real fighter laugh but feel like therapy to me. Sweat pours down my face, washing away the anger and leaving something cleaner behind. Clarity. Feel better? Mickey asks when I'm done. Getting there. Good. Because you've got company. I turn around to see David standing in the doorway, looking as out of place as a tuxedo at a barbecue. His expensive casual wear and perfect hair mark him as clearly as a neon sign, not from here, not one of us. Jack, we need to talk. No, we don't. It's about Jennifer, about last night. Last night, you were with Amanda Pierce. What's that got to do with Jennifer? David's face goes through the same color changes Jennifer's did. Pale, red, pale again. You don't understand. Explain it to me. He looks around the gym, taking in the scarred, heavy bags, the rust-stained weights, the men who've learned that life hits harder than any opponent. Not here. Somewhere private. This is as private as it gets. Mickey's good people, aren't you, Mickey? Mickey grins, showing teeth that have seen better decades. I don't hear nothing I don't want to hear. David swallows hard, his Adam's apple bobbing like a cork on rough water. Amanda she was supposed to distract you, keep you busy while Jennifer and I figured things out. The words hit me like a punch I didn't see coming. Figured what out? The divorce, the settlement. How to make this as painless as possible for everyone. Painless for who? For you. We didn't want you to get hurt. I laugh, a sound that makes Mickey step closer. You didn't want me to get hurt, so you had your girlfriend pretend to have a mental health crisis. It wasn't supposed to go that far. Amanda was just supposed to keep you occupied, maybe make you think about moving on. But she got attached. Attached to what? To the idea of actually being with you. She started pushing for real commitment, real relationship. That wasn't the plan. The plan. They had a plan. My wife and her lover had a plan that involved using another woman to manipulate me while they figured out how to dispose of me like an unwanted piece of furniture. Whose idea was it? The plan? David looks like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world. It was Catherine's idea. Catherine Walsh. She said it would be cleaner this way. Less messy. Catherine. Jennifer's best friend. The one who's been poisoning my marriage for years. The puppet master pulling strings while everyone else dances. And you went along with it. We thought it would be better for everyone. You'd have Amanda, Jennifer would have me. Nobody gets hurt. Except Amanda. Amanda knew what she was getting into. Did she? Because last night she seemed pretty surprised when her parents showed up. David's face crumples like wet paper. That was cruel, Jack. Humiliating her in front of her family. Not as cruel as using her to manipulate me. Not as humiliating as finding out your girlfriend is being paid to pretend she cares about you. She wasn't being paid. Then what was she getting out of it? David doesn't answer, which is an answer all by itself. Amanda was getting something. Money, promises, leverage, something valuable enough to make her willing to play the role of the other woman in someone else's marriage. Here's what's going to happen, I tell David. You're going to end it with Jennifer. You're going to transfer to another firm, another city, another state if necessary. You're going to disappear from our lives like you never existed. I can't do that. Why not? Because I love her. The words hang in the air like smoke. David loves Jennifer, my wife of 22 years, the mother of my daughter, the woman who promised to honor and cherish me until we were both gray and wrinkled. Then you should have thought about that before you involved Amanda in your little scheme. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. But it did, and now you get to live with the consequences. I walk toward the door, leaving David standing in the middle of Mickey's gym, like a man who's just realized he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Jack, wait. I don't wait. I'm done waiting. Done being patient. Done being the understanding husband who tries to see everyone's point of view. The drive home takes me past Jennifer's office building, a glass tower that reaches toward the sky like a middle finger pointed at the working class. Her car is in the parking garage, right next to David's BMW. They're probably up there right now, planning their next move, figuring out how to handle the husband who won't cooperate with their neat little plan. Let them plan. I've got plans of my own. The law offices of Morrison, Walsh & Associates occupy 3 floors of downtown Millfield's only skyscraper. I've been here exactly twice in 22 years of marriage, once for Jennifer's promotion party, once for the Christmas party where I met David. Both times, I felt like a fish out of water, surrounded by people who measured success in billable hours and corner offices. Today, I'm here for Catherine Walsh. The elevator opens onto the 32nd floor, where everything is glass and steel and expensive art that probably costs more than my truck. The receptionist, a young woman with the kind of polished smile that comes from years of practice, looks up as I approach. I'm here to see Catherine Walsh. Do you have an appointment? Tell her Jack Sullivan is here. Tell her it's about Jennifer. The receptionist's smile flickers for just a moment. She makes a quiet phone call, speaks in hushed tones, then hangs up and gestures toward a seating area that looks like it was designed by someone who's never actually sat in a chair. Ms. Walsh will see you in a few minutes. Catherine keeps me waiting exactly 15 minutes, long enough to establish who's in control, not long enough to be openly rude. It's a power play I recognize from Jennifer's playbook. When Catherine finally emerges from her corner office, she looks exactly like what she is, a successful attorney who spent the last 20 years climbing over anyone who got in her way. Perfectly tailored suit, perfectly styled hair, perfectly calculated expression of mild concern. Jack, this is unexpected. I'm sure it is. She gestures toward her office, and I follow her past assistants and junior associates who look up from their desks like prairie dogs checking for predators. Catherine's office is all windows and power furniture, with a view of the harbor that probably costs her firm a fortune in rent. She settles behind her desk like a queen taking her throne. What can I do for you? You can explain why you're destroying my marriage. Catherine's laugh is like crystal breaking. I'm not destroying anything, Jack. I'm trying to help Jennifer find happiness. By setting up elaborate schemes involving other women? By helping her realize she deserves better than settling for a life that makes her miserable. And David makes her happy. David appreciates her. David sees her potential. David doesn't expect her to be satisfied with fixing boats and living in the same small town forever. The words sting because there's truth in them. I have expected Jennifer to be satisfied with our life, our choices, our compromises. I never asked if she wanted something different. So you decided to help her by manipulating me. I decided to help her by creating an opportunity for both of you to move on gracefully. Using Amanda Pierce. Catherine's expression doesn't change, but something flickers behind her eyes. Surprise, maybe, or calculation. Amanda was willing to help. Help with what, exactly? Help you realize that your marriage was over. Help you find someone more suitable to your circumstances. Suitable to my circumstances. Like I'm a charity case who should be grateful for whatever scraps get thrown my way. And what was Amanda getting out of it? The chance to be with someone who might actually commit to her. Based on a lie. Based on the possibility that the lie might become truth. Catherine stands up and walks to the window, looking out at the harbor where I spend my days fixing other people's problems. Jack, you're a good man. You're honest, hardworking, reliable, but you're not what Jennifer needs anymore. What does Jennifer need? She needs someone who understands ambition, someone who can match her professionally, someone who can give her the kind of life she's worked so hard to build. Someone like David. Someone like David. I join her at the window, looking down at the marina where my boat sits among dozens of others. From up here it looks small and insignificant, just another toy for rich people to ignore. How long have you been planning this? Planning what? The whole thing, the affair, the manipulation, the business sabotage? Catherine turns to look at me, and for the first time, her mask slips. Just for a moment, but long enough for me to see the calculation underneath. Business sabotage? My clients are disappearing. Someone with connections has been making calls, spreading rumors, destroying my reputation. Someone who wants me desperate enough to accept whatever settlement gets offered. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious situation. Catherine walks back to her desk and sits down, her movements careful and controlled. Even if that were true, you couldn't prove it. Maybe not in court. But I don't need a court to destroy someone's reputation. Is that a threat? It's a reality check. You've been playing games with my life, my marriage, my business. You've been treating me like some obstacle to be managed instead of a human being with rights and feelings. That stops now. Catherine's smile is sharp enough to cut glass. Or what? Or I start playing games too, and I'm very good at fixing things that are broken. I'm also very good at breaking things that work. You're making a mistake, Jack. The mistake was trusting people who never deserved it. I turn to leave, but Catherine's voice stops me at the door. Jack? What? Jennifer's already filed the papers. The divorce is going forward whether you cooperate or not. The words hit like a physical blow. Jennifer's filed for divorce without telling me, without giving me a chance to fight for our marriage, without even having the courtesy to discuss it face to face. When? Yesterday. You'll be served by the end of the week. On what grounds? Irreconcilable differences. No-fault divorce. Clean and simple. Nothing about this is clean and simple. It could be, if you let it. I walk out of Catherine's office without another word, past the assistants and junior associates who pretend not to watch me leave. The elevator ride down seems to take forever, giving me plenty of time to think about what comes next. Jennifer's filed for divorce. My business is being systematically destroyed. My wife's best friend has been orchestrating the whole thing like some twisted puppet master. Time to cut some strings. The first stop is the marina, where my boat sits waiting like an old friend. I've got work to do, but not the kind that involves fixing engines or replacing parts. The kind that involves making phone calls and asking favors and reminding people why they used to trust Jack Sullivan. The second stop is going to be Jennifer's office, where my soon-to-be ex-wife is probably celebrating her legal victory with her lover and her puppet master friend. The third stop is going to be wherever I can do the most damage to the people who thought they could destroy my life without consequences. Because Catherine Walsh is right about one thing. I am good at fixing things that are broken. I'm about to prove I'm even better at breaking things that work. The law firm's parking garage at 8 p.m. is nearly empty. Just a few cars belonging to lawyers who bill by the hour and associates desperate to make partner. Jennifer's sedan sits in her assigned spot, right next to David's BMW. They're working late again, probably celebrating their legal victory with champagne and congratulations. I don't park in the garage. Instead, I find a spot across the street with a clear view of the exit, settle back in my truck, and wait. Patience is a virtue I learned from 22 years of marriage and 30 years of fixing things that other people broke. My phone buzzes with a text from Tom. Buyer wants to meet tomorrow. Final offer on the table. I ignore it. Tom can wait. Everyone can wait. At 8:47 p.m., Jennifer and David emerge from the elevator, walking close but not touching. Professional distance maintained for the security cameras and any witnesses who might be watching. They've gotten good at this game of public discretion and private betrayal. They stop beside Jennifer's car, and I can see them talking through the windshield. David gestures toward his BMW, probably suggesting they go somewhere private to celebrate. Jennifer shakes her head, points toward her car, says something that makes David's shoulders slump. Trouble in paradise. Jennifer drives home alone. David sits in his car for another 10 minutes, probably texting or calling someone. Catherine, maybe. Or Amanda. Or some other woman who's willing to play whatever role the puppet master assigns. I follow David instead of Jennifer. He drives to Mulligan's Bar, a upscale place where lawyers and bankers go to drink expensive whiskey and complain about their problems. The kind of place where a boat mechanic would stick out like a sore thumb. Good thing I'm not going inside. David parks near the back of the lot, away from the streetlights. He's barely out of his car when I pull up beside him, rolling down my window. Evening, David? He jumps like I've fired a gun. Jack, what are you doing here? Thought we should finish our conversation from the gym. There's nothing to finish. Sure there is. You love Jennifer, remember? You're willing to destroy a 22-year marriage for love. That's romantic. David looks around the parking lot like he's hoping for rescue. Look, I know you're upset, but... Upset? I laugh, getting out of my truck. David, upset is when your favorite team loses. Upset is when it rains on your day off. What I am is impressed. Impressed? By the planning, the coordination, the way you and Catherine managed to manipulate everyone involved, including Jennifer. David's face goes pale in the parking lot lights. I don't know what you mean. Sure you do. Catherine's the mastermind, you're the weapon, Amanda was the distraction, and Jennifer's the prize. Very neat, very professional. It's not like that. Then explain what it's like. David leans against his car, suddenly looking older than his 30-something years. Catherine approached me 6 months ago, said Jennifer was unhappy, said she needed someone who understood her ambitions. And you volunteered? I was already interested in Jennifer. Catherine just facilitated things. By destroying my business and manipulating my personal life. That wasn't supposed to happen. The business thing, that was Catherine's idea. She said it would make the divorce settlement easier if you were financially desperate. The pieces click into place like a lock opening. Catherine didn't just want to break up my marriage. She wanted to leave me with nothing. No wife, no business, no future. Complete destruction, professionally executed. What about Amanda? Amanda owed Catherine money, gambling debts from law school. Catherine offered to forgive the debt in exchange for a favor. The favor being me. The favor being keeping you distracted while we sorted things out. And when Amanda started actually caring about me? David shrugs. Catherine said it didn't matter, said you'd never find out about the arrangement. But I did find out. You did. We stand in the parking lot silence for a moment, two men whose lives have been twisted into knots by a woman who thinks people are chess pieces to be moved around a board. Here's what I don't understand, I tell David. Jennifer's a smart woman, a successful lawyer. How did Catherine convince her to go along with all this? Jennifer doesn't know about the business sabotage. She doesn't know about Amanda's debts. Catherine told her I was just interested, that the attraction was natural. And Jennifer believed that? Jennifer wanted to believe it. She's been unhappy for years, Jack. Catherine just gave her permission to do something about it. The truth of it hits harder than I expected. Jennifer has been unhappy. I've known it, ignored it, hoped it would pass like a bad mood or a difficult case at work. I've been so busy building a life that I forgot to ask if it was a life she wanted to live. Does she love you? David looks away. She thinks she does. That's not an answer. She loves the idea of me, the idea of a different life, a different future. Whether she loves the actual me, he shrugs again. Ask me in a year. You won't be around in a year. Why not? I pull out my phone and show him the screen. Because I've been recording this conversation, because Catherine's plan just fell apart, because tomorrow morning, Jennifer's going to learn exactly how her best friend has been manipulating her life. David stares at the phone like it's a snake. You can't do that. I can and I will. Unless what? Unless you help me expose Catherine before she destroys anyone else. She'll ruin me. She's already ruining you. She's turning you into the kind of man who destroys marriages for sport. Is that who you want to be? David runs his hands through his perfect hair, messing it up for the first time since I've known him. What do you want me to do? I want you to tell Jennifer the truth, all of it. The business sabotage, Amanda's debts, Catherine's manipulation. I want her to hear it from you, tonight, before I have to show her the recording. And then what? Then you disappear. Transfer to another firm, another city, another life. Leave Jennifer alone to figure out what she really wants without Catherine pulling her strings. And if I don't? I put my phone back in my pocket. Then tomorrow morning, this recording goes to Jennifer, to your law firm, to the State Bar Association, and to anyone else who might be interested in how Morrison, Walsh, and Associates conducts business. David stares at me for a long moment, probably calculating odds and outcomes like the lawyer he is. Finally, he nods. I'll tell her tonight. Good. And David? Yeah? If you try to warn Catherine or run or do anything except exactly what we just agreed, I'll make sure everyone in town knows exactly what kind of man you really are. I get back in my truck and drive away, leaving David standing alone in the parking lot with his expensive car and his expensive clothes and his suddenly very expensive problems. The drive home takes me past Jennifer's temporary refuge at Catherine's house, where lights are on in the living room, and two figures are visible through the gauze curtains. Jennifer and Catherine, probably planning the next phase of their campaign against the inconvenient husband. Let them plan. By tomorrow morning, everything changes. By tomorrow morning, the puppet master's strings are going to be cut. The Millfield Harbor Festival happens every summer, turning our sleepy coastal town into a carnival of tourists, vendors, and locals, pretending they're happy to share their space with strangers. This year's festival is bigger than usual, with a main stage set up in the harbor park and enough food trucks to feed a small army. Perfect cover for what I have planned. I arrive early, before the crowds, while vendors are still setting up their booths and sound technicians are testing microphones on the main stage. The morning air smells like salt water and fried dough, with an undertone of anticipation that has nothing to do with the festival. My phone has been buzzing since 6 a.m. Text from Jennifer. We need to talk, now. Text from Catherine. Don't do anything stupid, Jack. Text from David. I told her everything. She's not taking it well. Text from Amanda. I'm sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. I ignore them all. Today isn't about apologies or explanations or damage control. Today is about consequences. The festival officially opens at 10 a.m., but by 9:30, there are already hundreds of people wandering through the booths, sampling food and buying overpriced souvenirs. I position myself near the main stage, where the opening ceremony will begin in 30 minutes. Jennifer finds me at 9:45, pushing through the crowd like a woman on a mission. She looks terrible, which gives me a moment of satisfaction followed by a stab of guilt. 22 years of marriage doesn't disappear overnight, even when it ends in betrayal and manipulation. Jack, we need to talk privately. Nothing private about any of this anymore. David told me what Catherine did. About the business, about Amanda, about all of it. And I had no idea. I swear to you, I had no idea Catherine was manipulating things. I study Jennifer's face, looking for tells, for signs of deception. She's good at controlling her expressions, but she's never been good at lying to me. Right now, she looks genuinely shocked and genuinely ashamed. What did you think was happening? I thought David was interested in me. I thought the attraction was mutual and natural. I thought... She stops, shakes her head. I thought I was finally getting something I deserved. And what was that? Someone who saw me as more than just a wife and mother. Someone who appreciated my ambitions instead of just tolerating them. The words hurt because they're true. I have tolerated Jennifer's ambitions instead of supporting them. I've been content with our small-town life while she's been dreaming of something bigger. So you filed for divorce. Catherine said it was the best way to protect both of us. Clean break, no fault, minimal conflict. While she was destroying my business behind the scenes. Jennifer's face crumples. I didn't know about that. I swear I didn't know. But you would have benefited from it. Desperate husband, quick settlement, more money for your new life with David. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did hurt me. You betrayed 22 years of marriage for a man you barely know, based on advice from a woman who's been poisoning our relationship for years. Jennifer looks around at the festival crowd, at the families and couples enjoying a perfect summer morning. What do you want me to say? I want you to say you're sorry. I want you to say you'll fight Catherine's manipulation instead of enabling it. I want you to say our marriage meant something to you. It did mean something. It means everything. But Jack, we've been drifting apart for years. You know we have. She's right, and that's the hardest part. We have been drifting apart, two people who built a life together and then forgot to keep building. But drift isn't betrayal. Distance isn't destruction. We could have worked on that. Could we? When was the last time you asked me about my dreams? When was the last time we talked about anything besides boat repairs and grocery lists and whose turn it is to call the plumber? I don't have an answer for that because she's right. We've been roommates pretending to be spouses, going through the motions of marriage without the substance. So what now? Now I don't know. David's transferring to the Seattle office. Catherine's going to face some professional consequences for what she did to your business. What kind of consequences? The state bar doesn't look kindly on attorneys who abuse their connections to destroy innocent people's livelihoods, especially when there's recorded evidence. The festival's opening ceremony begins with a speech from the mayor about community values and summer traditions. The irony is perfect. Here we are, destroying our community and traditions while everyone around us celebrates. Jack. What? I'm sorry. I'm genuinely, completely sorry for all of it. For the affair, for trusting Catherine, for not fighting harder to save our marriage before it got to this point. Sorry enough to try again? Jennifer looks at me with eyes that are bright with tears she won't let fall. I don't know if we can come back from this. I don't know if either of us is the same person we were when we got married. People change. Doesn't mean they have to change apart. Doesn't mean they can change together either. The crowd around us applauds something the mayor said, but I wasn't listening. I was watching my wife struggle with the same question I've been avoiding for months. Is our marriage worth saving, or are we just afraid to let it go? What about the divorce papers? I can withdraw them, if that's what we both want. Is it what you want? Jennifer takes a long time to answer. I want to want it. Does that make sense? It makes perfect sense. She wants to want our marriage, our life, our future together. But wanting to want something isn't the same as actually wanting it. What about Catherine? Catherine's going to face the consequences of her choices. Professional discipline, probably loss of some clients, definitely the end of our friendship. And David? David's gone. Transferred, relocated, out of our lives forever. And Amanda? Amanda's debt to Catherine has been forgiven through other means. She's free to make her own choices without coercion. I look around at the festival, at the families and couples and friends enjoying a perfect summer day. This is what normal looks like. This is what Jennifer and I used to have, before ambition and resentment and manipulation tore us apart. I want to try, I tell her. I want to fight for us, for what we built, for what we could still build together. Even after everything that's happened? Especially after everything that's happened, because now we know what we're fighting for. Jennifer steps closer, close enough that I can smell her perfume and see the flecks of gold in her brown eyes. It's going to be hard work. I'm good at hard work. It's going to take time. I've got time. It's going to require both of us to change. I'm ready to change. Jennifer reaches for my hand, and for the first time in months, her touch feels like home instead of obligation. Then let's go home and start over. The festival continues around us, full of music and laughter and the kind of simple joy that comes from community and tradition and shared experience. We walk through the crowd together, not quite ready to be a couple again, but no longer strangers pretending to be married. Behind us, the consequences of Catherine's manipulation will play out in professional discipline and personal disgrace. David will build a new life in Seattle, hopefully learning something about honor and integrity along the way. Amanda will find someone who loves her for herself, not as a pawn in someone else's game. And Jennifer and I will go home to our small house overlooking the harbor, where we'll begin the hard work of rebuilding something that was broken but not destroyed. It won't be easy, it won't be quick, but it will be honest, and after months of lies and manipulation, honesty feels like the most revolutionary thing of all. The festival music follows us all the way home, a soundtrack for new beginnings and second chances, and the possibility that sometimes, if you're very lucky and very determined, you can fix something that everyone else thinks is beyond repair. Even if that something is a marriage. Even if that something is yourself.